What's going on, guys? Today we're going to show you the full process of building this $500,000 shop. We're going to take you on a full walkthrough and show you some of the interesting things that aren't usually inside of a shop. So with all of that being said, let's jump into it. All right, today I want to take you on a full tour of this new shop. I also want to break down the whole process we went through to get it to where it's at, and we'll do another video to show you finished product. However, I'm also thinking of doing a full house tour. So if that's something that interests you, because we never actually did that once we finished the house, make sure you let me know in the comments and let's jump into the shop. All right, first off, we had to get this approved with the city, which actually turned out to be more difficult than I thought. Not because you can't put a shop on your land, but because we wanted to add certain parts of the shop that appeared to them as if we were trying to build an apartment. So because they thought we were trying to make a second dwelling, they really held us down on making some weird tweaks that I'm going to talk about on the tour, so that they say technically they don't think we would be able to rent this to someone because of all the weird stuff they made us do, which was really frustrating. Once we got the plans through, and maybe we'll just take a pause for a second and I'll show you all of the plans and all of the drawings. It's funny because on the house, on this, and on a lot of stuff with apartments, I just mess around on Paint because I'm pretty archaic and not good at any of the other apps or things. And I've been using Paint since like first grade. And so we just messed around on there, downloaded pictures of our house and of other shops and kind of hodgepodge them together to get the idea of what we wanted it to look like. If you love the design on this shop, you can hit me up as your designer at Chandler Smith. No, I'm just kidding. You're not gonna wanna use me. To get the process started, we first had to pour the footings. So we'll share some video. We came in, we dug things up, we put in the footings, we're able to get those poured. Once those are poured, then they go in backfill and they poured the concrete slab. Once that was done, then we were able to start framing. We dove into getting the electrical, getting the plumbing, making sure that then we got the roof on. And now we're at the point where we are really close to the end working on the exterior. Everything on the inside has drywall, electrical, and plumbing, and all of that stuff is in. And so we're down to just some of the finishing touches with adding in paint and the rest of the exterior, but we wanted to show you what the plans are so that we can do one more video at the end to show you the finished product. All right, now that we've covered all of that, let's head inside. All right, so what you see here was originally all that we were going to put in. This is a 50 by 50 shop with 5 kids and everything going on. We've kind of always planned on putting this in this part so that we could hold the boat, additional cars, bikes, toys, all of the fun stuff. And so when we started, this is what we were going to do. And then as we started thinking about it and talking about it, we realized this would be our only opportunity to really do a bigger addition to the house for any extras that we wanted to add in. And so after thinking about it, we went and looked at a couple other shops and we decided, hey, maybe we can splurge a little bit and add on some other things. So I am super excited about this portion of the shop. However, I'm also excited that we decided to add on a little bit more. And so when we were designing the exterior, we really liked having the 3 garages. And if you come over here, you can see that it lines up perfectly so that our entrance in, then we can have a straight shot and open up into nice parking in front of the shop. So it worked really nice. We wanted that so it's symmetrical. We're planning on putting stone, just like on the house, on these 3 garage bays so that it matches the house really well and looks cute coming in. And we'll show you some footage right now of the front side so you can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at with a little picture of the plans. So a couple things we decided to do on this shop. We made sure that we had one really high garage door so that you can put pretty much anything in here. And then these are still pretty high on the sides. We also thought it looked cute to have the different dimensions there. Up above, we decided to do radiant heat just so that the heating is a little bit better. So if you look over here, you can see we've got setups for radiant heat here and here, and that's gonna be able to cover the whole shop. What's nice about that is if you have the big blowers that you set up, a lot of times the heat's more focused, and when you open the doors, that heat leaves really quickly, where this is able to keep a very consistent heat even when the doors are open, which I'm super excited about. You'll also see that, I don't know where the future is going, but I'm assuming there's going to be more electric. I know that's been an up and down thing, but I always like to be prepared. So we added in multiple 220 outlets. These are gonna work for things like Teslas or my Porsche Taycan or any other electrical vehicles, boats, whatever else the world decides to come up with so that we've got access to that. And then obviously plugs all the way around. Now, one thing that we decided to add that I think is really cool is we added on an additional 25 feet this way. So it's 25 by 50 that we could add on whatever we wanted. We kind of had just this extra space so that we could do with it what we wanted to do. And so back here, I always thought it was cool to have access to the back with a smaller garage. When we were designing this, originally we thought we would use it for a lawnmower, things like my razor, toys, and lawn equipment. However, currently I have a landscape company that does everything with our landscape. At some point, I think we're gonna want our kids to do a lot more, because I know for me, that was a great experience growing up, doing that work, and I needed a place to store my own equipment because I ended up starting a lawn mowing company. And so we thought having access to this might be good for the kids in the future. Right now though, it's gotten to the point where I really enjoy working out, and so does Jess. And so we're thinking of maybe making this an addition where it's another gym that has outside access to our backyard, because you can see out here, it's just a really cool view of the backyard. Back here, we've got our little reception area. We've got over here, the orchard, the yard, and then our back patio. And so we're going to be putting concrete right here. We're also going to be putting in a pickleball court, so that there's a step down to an outdoor pickleball court, which we're pretty excited about. So with all of that being the case, we thought right now this might be a great place to add in gym space. The other thing I thought about is with sports and other things like that, whether we put in a place to pitch and bat for the kids if they get more into baseball or whatever we needed. It's just additional space that we've got if we need it for yard equipment, or if we're wanting to use it for the gym and fun stuff. This can work for that. All right, now we're gonna take you into the other portion. However, I kind of want to explain our idea for this part, because the city made us do some kind of weird stuff, because this looked like and was originally our plan to be a place where people could sleep, so that when we have friends, family, people from out of town, with 5 kids in our house, we just don't have the bedrooms that we used to. And so we wanted some additional living space. And so that originally was what the plan here was going to be. Now, I didn't do my research properly, so we just wrote up plans, brought them to the city, and they're like, yeah, you can't make an additional living space because you're gonna use it to rent out to people and yada, yada, yada. And so we're like, crap, what do we need to do then? Because now we had this empty space that we didn't know what we were gonna do with it. And we also had them evoking a lot of weird rules for us. First of all, this was going to be a wall, and they're like, hey, if this is gonna be shop, then it's gotta be shop. So you've gotta open this up. So we had to open this up, which makes heating really, really frustrating, because this is on a furnace and this is on the radiant heat. And so we're gonna have to figure out how that works. The other thing that's hilarious about the city is they're like, right now you need to follow these rules. What you do when we turn our head is up to you, which you guys can put that together as far as if I'll always not have a wall here. It sounds like the city says just right now, I don't need to have a wall, and we need to get our inspection and go through that process. And so dealing with the city can be rather frustrating, but we'll take you in here. With the city, this is storage, and that's what we're gonna use it for the city. Because they were kind enough to tell us to remove the walls that we had here for 2 bedrooms. They also, and this is where I was grateful for them, told us we were only allowed to have 1 bathroom out here. And fortunately, they were willing to work with us and let us put a bathroom in here and a bathroom over here and a bathroom upstairs. A lot of that was because we had some back and forth with us agreeing to remove all of the walls here and to remove that wall and to do some other weird stuff upstairs. And it's one of those things where we're gonna get the inspection, and we're gonna use this for storage. And there might be a time where I take you on a tour in here later. Yeah. All right, now we're gonna take you upstairs, and this is the addition I'm probably the most excited about, because it's just gonna be a ton of fun. So if you come up here, this is where we're gonna put some fun stuff. Over on this side, we have some ideas for gaming systems, a place to put ping pong and some other fun stuff for the kids. And so it's a smaller, skinnier area. With the slope of the roof up here that we had to work with, we had height that kind of helped us determine where we were gonna put what. Over here, you can see there's more space back here. We're still figuring out how we want to turn this into like a playroom area. and what all we want that to look like. With our kids' ages, it's tricky because there's lots of stuff they would love right now, but also we're looking into the future as we're kind of planning some of that stuff. So you're gonna have to wait for the finished product to see this part. The part I'm most excited about though is right here. We are going to build another wall with kind of a standing area and then a place right here for sitting. And then behind you over there is actually going to be where the golf simulator is. So you'll tee off right here. We'll have a full golf simulator set up here, and then obviously the seating where you can eat. And then what I wanted to do, a lot of times at golf simulators, you have to do the putting part, but back here, I'm gonna add, I think it gives you room for like 12 or 13 foot putting area, so that anytime you get within 12 feet, you have to come back here, see if you can make your putt, so we can get a little bit more competitive with how we're doing that. So we'll have a nice little putting area. We'll have the ability to go and play with the simulator there. And then we've got a closet here for storing stuff. We also in here have the furnace. And what I decided to do is go all electrical out here, just so that we had less lines out. And that just seemed easier and a little bit cheaper. But then over here, we also were able to get them to agree to let us have one more bathroom so that when people are up here doing stuff, they can use that. So this is kind of the plans up here. And we're getting to the point where these next couple weeks, things are gonna move really quickly. So I wanted to at least do one video so you can see the before, and the next video we do is gonna be the after with all the fun stuff. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe, hit the little bell so you can catch my future videos, and let me know in the comments. If we get enough comments that you guys enjoyed this, we'll do a tour on the full house, which should be kind of fun. The last thing I want to add, if you want to know how these things are possible for me and my family, it is 100% because of investing in real estate. And so if you want to learn more about that, we've got tons of videos on YouTube. If you're serious about really diving into it, we're going to put a link below for the Creative Cash Flow Club, where you can connect with a bunch of other investors and learn everything you need to start investing and creating a passive income so you can create the life that you want. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.